What's going on, guys? I guess I'm doing another YouTube video because I'm bored and I want to, because I haven't posted it in forever. Well, I did post and then I deleted it because it didn't come out like I wanted to, so yeah. I'm going to be doing a comparison video of these two knives right here. V2 and a V3 Mako. They're both trainers, so neither of them are going to hurt me. Like, neither of them are going to hurt me. I can grab the blade, I can rub my fingers all over them, and they're not going to hurt me. So if you're looking for a trainer, here you go. Let's get into it. So, first, the key differences of these two knives, the key differences that are different from the V2 and V3 are the pin design. The V2 Mako has tang pins right there in the blade and also on the back of the blade. And the V3 has Zen pins. No pins in the blade at all. A little Zen pin nipple, but the pins are in the handles. So those are the only main differences between the V2 and V3. But then you're asking me, why am I making a comparison video if literally the two only things are the pins? And that's not. No, not at all. They may look like the same knife. They may sound like the same knife, specification-wise, but they're not at all. You hand me a V3 Mako and you hand me a V2 Mako, I can tell the difference. Literally by just picking it up, I can feel the difference. One's lighter than the other. One has different handle finishes than the other. They both feel to have different blade finishes and so much more. So let's go over the handles. Now, the handles on Squid's website, I believe the V2 and V3, if you look at the specification list between both of them, they're going to say the same thing. But it might be hard to see, but the V2 Mako down here has a little bit more glossy finish than the V3 up here, which results in quite the differences. And I'll go over that in a second. So, this V3 being more matte of a finish means, in my opinion, this knife is more slippery than the V2 Mako. Now, this knife has a weird grip. Let me move it down so you can see me flipping a little better. Okay, there you go. So this knife has a little bit weirder of a grip. It feels better while fanning than it does twirling and manipulation. When you're doing fanning, it feels pretty grippy, like this, or even choker fans, or even stuff like fixed ladders. Feels pretty grippy, but when you get into manipulation stuff like this, it feels very slippery. It doesn't feel as grippy as I would like it to. And I don't know what kind of finish. I think it's a sandblast or bead blast finish on both of these knives. But the handles just have a different grip, I guess you could say, ratio. It feels very good while fanning, especially choker fanning if I can get one going. And feels very good to the touch, but just doesn't feel very good while flipping. I don't like it while twirling. I don't like it while manipulating at all. And I don't really like it for aerials, to be honest. It just doesn't feel that good for aerials. It doesn't feel that great for parabolics. And I don't like the handle texture at all. Now, the V2, let's put the V3 down, let's pick up the V2. The V2 has more of a glossy finish. It might be hard to see on camera, but it has more of a glossy finish than the V3 Mako. And I like it more. And here's why. It feels more grippy overall. It feels more grippy. I can't even keep it in my hands anyways. It feels more grippy overall than the V2 Mako does, or the V3 Mako, my bad. The V3 Mako, like I said, has a very weird grip pattern, feels very different and stuff like that. The V2 Mako, the glossy finish texture that this has on it feels better. Feels more grippy with fanning, feels more grippy with manipulation, feels more grippy with just about everything. Which means it feels better in the hand to me than it does the V3. So, while staying at the handles, the V3 Mako feels more handle bias than the V2 Mako. The V2 Mako feels a little bit more neutral than the V3 Mako. So, which means, in my opinion, I like the V2's balance more than the V3 because I don't like such a handle-heavy knife like this. Like, at all, really. So, moving from the handles up to the blade, obviously, they have different pins. The V3 that I'm flipping now has Zen pins, which means it's more bouncy than the V2. Which I guess is good in some scenarios. It's good for parabolics, it's good for twirling, but I don't like it for aerials. Because bouncy Zen pins while doing aerials, meaning if you don't throw it up straight like this and the pin bounces to one of the handles, it's going to throw it off. Which I don't do often, but I do here and there. So I don't really like the pins for aerials on the V3 as much as I do the V2. So now another thing with the pins is the handle gap is basically non-existent. Like, that handle gap is nothing. That's while open, this is while closed. A little bit wider while closed, but the handle gap is just almost non-existent. These handles will slap within a year of me having that because I've only had this knife for about 3 months, maybe 3-4 months. But I say within a year or even 6 months, these handles will slap. Now the V2 pins aren't as bouncy, obviously because they're tang pins, as the V3. But I like the V3 pins more than the V2 pins. But for aerials, feel better. Because since they're not so bouncy, I don't have to worry about a pin whacking a handle, throwing it off guard. Because if it does, then it won't make that big of a difference. Now the handle gap is also kind of wider. If you want a side-to-side comparison, I can do that. The handle gap is wider by just a little bit than the V3. So, I mean, I don't know. That's really it about the two knives. What knife do I like better? Alright, I like the pins on this knife more than I do on this knife. But I also like the blade finish, the handle finish, the weight distribution, and everything on this knife more than I do on this knife. And I don't know why. I just do. Which, I mean, isn't a bad thing. They're both Makos, and I love all Squid's knives, so I'm not going to hate on them. But I just like the V2 Mako better than the V3. I just like the knife. It feels very different. It doesn't feel like any other knife I have. I just like the feel of this knife. So which knife do I prefer in the long run? I prefer the V2 Mako over the V3. Which isn't bad. I mean, they're both great knives. I love them both. I'm going to leave a link to the V3 in the description. The V2 is no longer existing unless you get a second hand on Instagram Marketplace or something. But yeah, I'll leave a link to Squid's website along with this knife, so you can get it if you want. So yeah, that's really it, I guess. If you have any video ideas or questions or comments, leave them in the description. I'll reply to every single one of them if I can come up with a reply to them. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I got many more in the future coming, don't worry. So yeah. Will they stand up? They will stand up. Awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment, like, and drop me a fat subscribe. I'm getting very close to 100 subscribers. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace. Oh yeah, and by the way, I have a full-on review coming of this knife very soon. So and this knife separately. Just saying. Okay, bye.